Hey everybody, welcome back. 1 little, 2 little, 3 little Indians, 4 little, 5 little, 6 little Indians, 7 little, 8 little, 9 little Indians, 10 little Indian boys or girls. So the story that I'm going to be sharing with you today is called Catarina's 10 Fingers. It's from this beautiful book called 40 Stories for You to Tell by Gladys Mary Talbot. And I liked this story. I hope you do too. Catarina's 10 Fingers. If ever a little girl wanted to do something, that little girl was Catarina. And since she only wanted to go to Sunday school, you may be surprised that she was not allowed to go, especially as she was perfectly well. The weather was clear and sunshiny, and the Sunday school was being held a short distance away, right out under the shadow of a great palm tree. Catarina could see the boys and girls gathering. She could see the teacher hanging the picture scroll against the tree trunk. "Oh, Madre mia," she begged, "I pray thee let me go for a little while. See, I have been twice already, and it has never hurt me. Let me go today." But the truth of the matter was Catarina's mother hated Sunday schools. No, Catarina, it is not safe to go. Something in my bones tells me those stories will upset our family. So run away, child. Thou art in the way when there is cooking." So 2 big tears dropped sadly from Catarina's eyes as she went out into the sunshine, where her father was sitting lazily, sunning his toes and blinking his eyes open and shut, open and shut. And the first thing she knew, Catarina was telling him how heartbroken she was, and he was saying, "Come now, am I not the father? Then run along and listen to the stories, little one. Yes, go 10 times until thou hast a new story for every one of thy 10 fingers." So Catarina lost not one moment in skipping over to the crowd of boys and girls under the palm tree, where she listened with all her ears. Catarina's mother did not like it, but her father said, "Oh well, she wants to go, so let her." So Sunday after Sunday, Catarina went, until she had been 9 times. It was exactly as if she had a Bible right in the tip of her fingers, for she named the new finger every Sunday. And now only the 10th finger was empty, anxiously awaiting for the next story. But oh dear me, there came a sad day. A sad Thursday, when her family moved to a distant village, which looked exactly like the old one, only there was no Sunday school. Catarina asked her neighbors, all her little new ones, but not a single child in all the town had ever heard of such a thing. So Catarina told them what it was. How there had to be a teacher, and this teacher would hang a picture against a tree trunk and tell stories about the picture. "I that speak unto you know 9 of these stories myself," Catarina said proudly. "See 9, as she held up 9 fingers and wiggled them one by one, except the 10th. "Then tell us the stories," begged the little neighbors. "Oh, do tell us. Let's have this thing called the Sunday school right away. Let's begin now." So she sat down under the palm tree, and Catarina began, hung a piece of paper on the tree. "This is the Sunday school picture," she said. "We will just have to pretend, of course." Indeed, it took quite a little pretending when there wasn't a single drawing on that entire piece of paper. But Catarina laid her fingers on a certain spot and said, "Now, here's where the hillside ought to be. And all over the hillside, you must make believe that there are hundreds of sheep huddled close together, sound asleep. Shepherds are sitting there, and it is night. It is ever and ever so dark, until suddenly up in this corner of the picture, there is a big light, right here in the sky. And now what do you suppose made that light?" Not a single little Puerto Rican knew. So Catarina whispered, "Why, it was angels. Oh, a whole lot of angels, and they came down to tell the shepherds the Lord Jesus was born." "Who is the Lord Jesus?" asked a little girl. So Catarina explained, and that was the first story. "We like finger stories," the children cried. "Tell us another." So Catarina told story after story. about the 3 wise men who came over to the desert on camels with presents for the little Lord Jesus, about how the Lord Jesus fed 5,000 people from what was in the lunch basket of one surprised little boy, about how the Lord Jesus healed the sick at sunset time, and so through all her 9 fingers a story for each. There came a time when she told them so often that almost any of the little Latin American children could tell which story belonged to which finger. The first they called the angel finger, the second the wise man finger, the third the lunch basket finger, the fourth the sick finger, etc. 9 of them. But always there was Catarina's empty little finger that had no story at all. Then one day, our missionary came to that town, and no sooner had Miss Missionary started telling Bible stories to the women and children than a certain small boy named Alfonso cried, "Oh, that's Catarina's 6th finger, señorita." Of course, Miss Missionary could not tell what he was talking about, so she started to tell another story. When a small girl called out excitedly, "Señorita, señorita, we know how it ends, for it's Catarina's 4th finger." So then Miss Missionary stopped and asked, "Who is Catarina? And what is all this about her fingers?" Thereupon Catarina came shyly forward and holding up her hand said, "I have 9 Bible fingers, señorita, but alas, my 10th finger is empty." But when Miss Missionary heard all that Catarina had done in that town, she saw that Catarina's 10th finger had been a Bible story all by itself. For perhaps you will remember that just before the Lord Jesus went back to heaven, he said to his friends, "Go ye into all the world and preach my gospel." And Miss Missionary thought that Catarina had obeyed this command about as well as any little girl could do. For the moment she moved into the new village, she began to spread the story of Jesus. And so Catarina's 10th finger became known among them as the Go Ye finger. I thought this was a really sweet story, and we're all called to go and preach the gospel to all of God's creatures. So whatever story is near and dear to your heart from the Bible, that whether you learned it in Sunday school or whether you learned it last week in church, share it with your friends and have an amazing day. God bless you all.